middle of doing this, so don't have anything particular to report, but I can describe what I'm doing.
I'd love
As
to just see it. I mean, I'd love to just
yeah,
see what you're doing as you do it. Just, I still feel a little bit vague on what the tooling is that you need, but it's starting to sound like the way that these apps are coming along is they're like a seed. Like you really do just drop down just a little bit of prompt, and then it generates more stuff, and then you tweak it here a little bit, and it sort of just unfurls like a tree.
yeah, I think so, and I think this would be interesting actually. So we could just have a
Mm.
live session.
Yeah, let's just do
I've got
that.
a session up now
Let's just do
with
that.
the
Yeah, because it's
uh,
almost like the LLM contains within it. It has within it the entire app already, right?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
really just about teasing it out, like how you just pull a thread out of something. And
yeah, exactly. I think you'll find this fascinating actually,
all right,
and
let's do
quite
it.
quite a lot of fun as well. I need to do that typing thing. Hold on, let me set it. Oh, okay. Oh, that sounds good. Ah, my laptop projection seems to be slightly off from real world. Right, doesn't
Hey,
matter.
did you get my text about the memory performance in Chrome as well? 'Cause-
Yeah, I already had that set,
oh, you had that set. Okay, okay.
as it turned out. But I think bridging mode might have actually been the thing fucking it
Bridging
up.
mode, hey? Yeah, and
Yeah,
if you completely disable the Starlink Wi-Fi, I think that's
yeah.
another good
Um,
thing.
I've not done that yet, but I'm not on that because I'm out of range. But
Yeah, but someone else might be, right? Like someone else, you want sort of nothing to be able to bypass the Eero's traffic shaping.
yeah, yeah. We'll see. In the middle of a solar storm, we'll see what the connection's
Yeah,
like.
yeah. It's funny.
Um,
The weather.
so I'll take you. I've just started this session actually. So what I've
All right.
done on this
Do you
one
want to
is
project it on the screen?
oh,
My bad.
okay.
My bad.
Okay, yeah. So the changes have been largely around putting more information into. I'll show you. Yeah, damn it.
Oi,
Leak.
tempesta.
Okay, so this is the one we're dealing with at the moment.
I'm lucky we're an open source company, buddy. Like, that's, that's,
And also, nobody gives a shit.
that's the other thing, yeah.
So the event log I've tightened up because remember last time it wasn't writing anything to it.
Right,
I thought that was 3.5. Now
right.
this is why I was saying that actually some of these stucks, which I've got in a notepad here, are probably going to be solved by Artifact because writing seems to be an issue, and so a write might need. I don't know yet, but might
Well,
need.
I think because you're asking it to sort of do it in memory, um, it's not as definitive, and it's sort of polluting the context as well.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like
So one of the
it's quite
things,
a yeah. Sorry.
yeah, no, I'm going to add something to the prompt to say just feel free to change instance data based on.
Right. Yeah. Right.
But you see it. So I just started this just
Okay.
half an hour ago or something like that. So what I was trying to do, so identify myself as a customer agent. Now, what I was intending to do there is to make sure that I get the right permissions, and this list all customer duty managers uh, is a bit of a prod. Saying, okay, so sorry, prior to that, I've turned the temperature way down, and the top P down to about half. That was my
Yep.
latest test, so I've been mucking around.
Right.
Um, so, interestingly enough, the for my taste, the answers are much more concise and helpful. However, we'll get to the however. So, I logged on as a customer agent, and it said, "Here's what you can do." It's like, okay.
What
Cool.
you can do.
I've asked for a list of all customers and duty managers, and Atlas is right. I don't have permissions to access duty manager details, but I do have access to customer information. Brilliant. Okay. We can mess around about whether that's the right thing or not. It's like, yes, proceed. So here is a list of the data for customers. Okay, so and this is quite interesting. Okay, when is Alice's next pickup? Fine. Next scheduled pickup was on the 8th of January. Okay. Now, that's not actually correct, just enough, but we'll come to why it thought that. Okay. But it's quite interesting, the rabbit hole. Okay, so scroll to cancel. Next scheduled pickup after that is on the 14th. Okay. Is there another pickup option available? And it's correctly looked at the routes. So it's correctly gone through from customer to location to routes, and it's seen that there isn't any interim route that she could be slotted in with. Cool. Right, note this on the requests and events. Okay, and quite rightly, it's already said I can't actually cancel that. I didn't say cancel it. I said we need to cancel this. However, I will record this request in the event log and then raise it to the duty manager. Absolutely right. Brilliant. I'm noting the request cancel. Please confirm me like proceed. Yes, I would. Okay, and it produces an event log, and this is where I think this is going to fall through with something that Artifact can actually do. So the bot correctly decided that there's now a new event. So show me the event log. It didn't add the event. It's like, 1 second. You said.
Did you load an event log? Did you load an event log from file?
Yes.
Okay, so it's reasonably, I would think that it's giving you the one from file. That's what I would actually expect it to do. This is the
thing. It seems to be needs to be explicitly told, which is why I think if this was just an isolate.
But this is this is not a real test of how. First of all, the answer it gave is the one that I'd actually expect it to give.
I know that's the irritating thing.
Yeah. So I don't think it's doing anything wrong. But second of all, what you're trying to do here simply goes away once we put it on Artifact.
Yeah, exactly. So it didn't go in the event log. Like
now, why even once you have Artifact, do you still need an event log?
Yes, because that is the mode of messaging between actors.
Actors. So, what's an example of actors?
For example, customer agent says Alice wants to cancel.
Yeah.
Customer agent doesn't have permissions. It needs to go to someone else. The duty manager is the one who can cancel. Now, right. I'm avoiding like point-to-point communication. It's like just dump it all in event log. And then the duty manager goes, well, you're seeing.
Don't we want like a role? Each role has an inbox, though.
Possibly, but I'm not going down that route yet.
Okay, so at the moment you're just like, there's one inbox for everyone, and the permissions make sure that even though everyone can read it, the permissions make sure that only the right people can act on it.
Yeah, and that's just it's easier.
Okie doke.
Okay, so where's the event log? It appears that cancellation request has not been added to the event log. Quite right, which is back to the point one. I think it's still thinking about the file as opposed to in memory.
Yeah, that's fair enough too, man. Honestly, I'm on Hal's side here. I think that's the right answer.
Okay, so it's like
even if you said like I reckon that if you said show me the new event log, I reckon that would be enough for it to show you the modified one.
Well, that's interesting. So I didn't actually do that, but I implied that. It's like, where the fuck is Alice's, cancellation? Blah blah blah. The event noting. Okay, it's now been successfully added. Is there anything else you do? Show me the event log because I don't trust you, right?
Yeah.
And there is the event.
I reckon if you said show me the updated event log, it's yeah. You're being mean to Hal.
Right. Now I'm changing permissions. I'm now the duty manager. Thank you. And it says, it tells me permissions. Brilliant. How may I assist you as a duty manager? Are there any events I need to consider? Now, quite impressed by this because one of the
it's like,
test
hey,
events.
right.
Yeah. Which was not part of this session.
Oh, that's good. That's good. No, that's good. So in the actual CRM, where that occurs is that if a new customer is added by a customer service agent, then the person who does the routing needs to make sure that that location is in the correct spot,
right,
in the correct order, and so they need to actually receive these notifications so that they can order.
But the interesting thing is, I didn't tell it that. It implied. So this event 02 is the interesting one. Okay, so we've got event 04, which is Alice. Event 02 is a request for a change of a route plan. Now, this was generated as just Gash test data a couple of days ago. But it's realized that there's not been any event saying that the duty manager has authorized that, which is why it's listed here.
Okay.
But I didn't give it that rule. What I said is duty managers need to...
It's almost like it sort of kind of knows what a duty manager is. Like it sort of knows... it knows the context of everything we talk about.
Right. And... no, I was really impressed by the fact that it listed 02. Given it was just thrown up there, and it's like, you've got a route planning, and it's like, okay, that's not been authorized. There's no event that's authorized that, 02, even though it's Gash data. So, as a duty manager, what are you going to do about that? I was quite impressed by that. So here's Alice again. Also, look at this. Second event in particular requires your attention to manage the cancellation request. This involves coordinating with relevant teams. So it's like, right, as duty manager, you might just say yes, but you need to then put something on the event that will trigger the driver to actually, know that. So driver is another actor. Again, it's inferred that. I'm not told that explicitly. So show me the route plan that covers Alice Johnson. Here's Alice's route plan. Now, interesting enough, Alice has location 001, LOC 001. That's not in this route plan. So it's like, what the fuck? And this is where it went a bit weird. So it's like, what's Alice's location ID? She is in 001. RP2 doesn't cover 001. It's like, it appears there's an error in linking Alice Johnson's location. Now this, I'm annoyed that this is another stuck. I think what I need to do is to make it more explicit what the chain of reasoning is in that, and I'll tell you this, I'll say why in a second, but it's incorrectly linked Alice Johnson to RP2, even though she's not on RP2. So, show me the route plan. She's on RP1. Okay. So, I authorize the request in event, update the route plan and event log. Authorization of cancellation has been noted. It hung here for, it hangs every now and again. It says, please hold, and it's like, you're not coming back, are you? So,
no, because it's been trained to, it absolutely expects to be doing a function call, and you can, I think what you're seeing is its training shining through. It's like, I am absolutely meant to call a function, and then it's got no function, so it's like, fuck,
So
I'm
it's probably
just.
thinking, yeah, it's trying its fucking
It's
hardest.
right. It
It's like
knows that
threefold.
you mean for it to call a function, and so it's done everything but. So
Yeah,
I think that's a strong response, actually. In
it's
like
not bad, isn't it? And
it's
then I just
yeah.
say, just fucking do it, and they go, oh right, yes, okay. So I'm going to get out of the loop of
What's
looking for
funny
things
is
to do.
then it like lies about it. It's like, oh yeah, we're done.
So it's a right. RP01 has been adjusted to remove Alice Johnson from the 8th of January, and the event log has been updated. Okay, show me RP01.
So listen, are
There.
we talking about a future state where the context memory of the LLM is so large that in actual fact the entire system can be just kept in context with no actual files?
I don't see that as a problem. That's
Right.
like
Well,
how much RAM do you need, right?
it's sort of a problem because what do you need artifact for at that point?
Well, you still need persistence.
But if the persistence is in all of the threads that have occurred, and if you can rebuild the system by just loading up all the threads and now it's all in context and you just go.
No, I think that's. I think ultimately they'll would hit a limit there because if you think
Why?
about multiple customer agents dealing with this,
If
and
you assume a multi-gigabyte context window, what's
yeah, but it's not just one context window. I'm thinking about say 4 customer agents, 3
I
tech
reckon that's
managers
perfectly fine.
and drivers.
I reckon we could see a future state soon where the LLM is so advanced that it can handle concurrent threads.
It's possible actually. It is
Right?
possible. There's
Right.
nothing technically other than just context window size.
Right. So this is dangerous because now our system relies upon a limitation that will soon be overcome. Right?
Well, it will be possibly overcome at some point. Yeah, but I don't know how hard that problem is to have effectively an
I'd say that's
infinite.
pretty soon. Infinite context.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and also the well, who can predict, right? But you
Well,
need
yeah.
to have. Sorry.
Let's just
Yeah.
assume that it can be done because what we are seeing is context windows getting bigger. So you might say that ultimately there will be a time when the context window is so huge or there's been some tricks invented and whatever. So what purpose does Artifact serve in that scenario?
When everyone goes home and switches off all their devices,
Right, but you'd
there needs to be some
assume
kind of persistence layer.
right, but that persistence layer is still just there'll still be tool calls required. So that still needs to run in Artifact. There'll still be repeatability. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you
It'll
okay,
just be
let's
simpler. It'll be just simpler for us.
it will be it'll be like one instance of an app running will just have one fucking big file.
Yeah, you won't have to do any kind of ordering within it.
Right. But that file still needs to be there because if there's another instance using the same app in a different company, say, it needs to go somewhere. And if everyone powers down for Christmas, where does it go? Kind of thing. But it might be the case that the only file we need instead of the big hierarchy of things is just one big file, ultimately. But that one big file would be like a AWS image.
It would be a motherfucker of a file, hey?
Yeah.
It would be inefficient as well. Like, I think storage, you always want to be efficient with your storage, and that file would contain a huge amount of junk. But on the plus side, imagine the queries you could do. It would be genuine natural language queries
awesome,
instantly. Yeah,
it's
right? Like,
is Alice a problem customer? Yeah, she keeps on fucking around, and
right. How many times has Alice called in the past? Like, that's actually, I think we should describe that as that's the future. Like, that's the ideal thing that we're really just patching right now, doing workarounds but we know that that's the future. And if
Right.
I was
Yeah,
to
yeah.
guess,
Imagine. Oh, sorry. Go on. Go on.
I was just going to guess. I was going to place a bet, or not a bet,
Yeah.
a
Oh,
prediction. I think it's 3 years away.
all right.
Anyway,
That's not bad prediction. I was
right,
gonna take you
right.
up on the bet and put
Yeah.
maybe
But
five Scots pounds on it, but I actually roughly agree.
I don't know if the £5 would be worth that much in the 3 years in the future. So, but the other trouble, well, the other example is that we can demonstrate that now, and I think you already have, where you've demonstrated a very small app that's able to run entirely in context. And so
Yeah,
I
but
think we could
sorry.
probably make a demonstration app. I promise I'll stop talking real soon. This is the
No,
last
no
thing. I'm
worries.
going to stop talking. So what we can do, I think, is if we make a general standard for how to compact the sessions, so basically a worker that scrolls it and extracts relevant information and stores that, we could show a small scale demonstration of what a pure in context app looks like when it's running with multiple users, having multiple sessions, and it's all being treated as it's just one big context window
That
all
would
the
be
time,
very, very
right?
cool.
And you're like, here's a really, like, it's a simple thing like a to-do list, but it demonstrates like, okay, we know that context windows are expanding. Once I've expanded a certain point, this is the kind of app that we know is coming.
Yeah, it's a bit like everything else is bootstrapping, but it's the event log is the central context that everyone refers to.
It's the audit trail in a way. It's
Yeah,
it's the excitation of the system. That's where the mutations occurred.
yeah, and the benefit of that is quite stark, isn't it? Essentially, you've got a single truth for every event, regardless of any business. So
Hey, so
everything is
that's
put into
probably
one session.
probably what we should be doing is we should be operating like that anyway. Like for every user and every session, we should be continuously compacting and extracting summarized details of each session and injecting that into every sysprompt so that whenever any agent does something, the context is aware of what everyone else is doing at the same time so that they can
It'd be
spot,
a fun thing to try, wouldn't it? It
right?
might get a bit confused. It might need a couple more gens to
Yeah,
get
well,
up there.
no, but it's sort of like if you separated it nicely, like you're like, look, this is an example of what you are Atlas, a multi-user system. Here is a summary of the other sessions occurring on your system at this time, blah, 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 right? And then it's just like like it's a background sort of a thread that just says, hey, two customer service agents, you're both accessing.
Well, here's an interesting thing. Okay, so I'll go down to the bottom because I want to continue to the really interesting kind of head scratch. Well, actually, it's not far down. But if I said, is it summarize my intent during this session and the notable events that occurred. Let's find out. Because that would be, between you and I, that would be an event log, right?
Right, but it's a compressed event log because that's all you need for the LLM to have. It can retrieve the exact instance if it finds something relevant, but there is always a summary that can be generated in real time for every concurrent thread, and it stands to reason.
Let's try it. Yeah, let's live the dream, right? And then try and break
it. Yeah.
So
long as we know what the perfect ultimate example is, and so long as we can recognize the waypoints in the world when it starts occurring, I will feel safe. I'm like,
I wonder. Give me a second. I'm liking this idea.
I think it's the future.
I'm gonna spin up how. Where's how? There's a how.
Multi-agent,
I'm going to get rid of
multi-user.
that one. It doesn't need that anymore. Detach, and what I'm going to do is, because I've been saving the sessions, right? And so, yeah. Okay, so this was my previous session. Okay. Copy that. Well, actually, no. I'll just attach it. That was 01, wasn't it? Was it 019? Okay, so this was my last session. And I'm going to ask it the same thing. Let's see if this works. I don't know whether it will. Here's my prompt. Okay. So, retrieve the session file I've uploaded. Give me a report on my intent during the session and the notable events that occurred. Okay, so this is at the moment just up on Git, right?
Right, so you could kind of also do this for it could live generate for every customer service agent, so that as the system admin, or the company admin, you could just be like, show me the day's activity reports.
Right.
You know, like, because Mr. Hinchcliffe, I used to find writing a report was painful. It was very useful to read a good report, right? And that's what we were doing out with the Minx guys. You know, there was like a daily summary of the report.
Yeah.
Like the instinct was good and the reasoning was good, but the pain in generating it was hard. But we can actually present these reports based on the event log, hey?
I know, but we can also link the summaries to the actual session.
So, yeah, so you can dig in more. As well, we can also actually generate an impact crystal for each customer service agent for the day.
Yeah. Let me read this. The session file detailed various interactions relating to CRM, focusing on linking different parts of the system through identifiers. Yep. The intent in the session appears to be concerned with achieving specific information. Yeah, that's consistency. I was doing yesterday. Understanding the interrelations. Yep. Verify data consistency and linkage. And notable events. Understanding. Session begins with queries aimed at understanding how various parties. Yeah, that's all correct. Specific data queries. Yeah, that's true. Deep dive into data specs. There's a clear intent to understand the data specs and how they dictate the linkage. Yep. And that is a pretty fucking good summary. That is true. You add in a link to the actual session file, but also if we just dump that into a stack of stuff you're doing, stuff I'm doing, and then we can query saying what's our progress been over the last month, you know?
Right. Over like when I read it last. Like it's not like you don't have to keep up with it every day. You're just like, since the last one, what the fluff happened?
Right. And what were the important things?
Yeah, and you can tune those important things as you go. That's part of your preferences.
Really, really fucking good, man. We need to start an event log. It's going to be harder for you because you don't have a session. For me, it's easy.
I'm gonna
session into GitHub.
Well, as soon as I can get off the code, then I will start to have a session too.
Right. So with the session, when you end the session, you just say, "Give me, this prompt here," and then
because they're all threads. They're all threads in Artifact. Right.
Oh yes.
So it's just
when
it just
we're on
happens.
Artifact, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still in cut and paste world. Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. You are not going to be there for very long. I literally right now, like, what I'm doing right now is the recovery of private keys from environment variables in the cloud so that when a new isolate starts, it still has access to the system that was provisioned when it was installed. That's how close we are.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. The cut and paste thing is not. Well, it's going to be really nice when you get off it, but it's
Yeah.
not a hamper. But
It
let's
sounds
test
like
this,
a
right?
hamper. I
So
would be going insane.
this is what I was doing yesterday, right? And you got this summary.
Right.
So here's a test, right? Have you got any questions that you'd otherwise contact me about and saying,
Right. That's the
what about
thing, right?
this?
There's no and then when you ask a question, it should attempt to answer it. Like if I want to ask you something, it should attempt to answer me based on the data that's already in the system.
Yeah,
Right? That's what
that'd
you're
be
getting at,
really
right?
really awesome. Let's try it. I don't know. You think of a Gash question to ask of this summary.
Uh, um,
Doesn't really matter what it is. I'm just seeing whether
how
you're high.
many customers were modified?
Yeah, yep. That's right now. I'm not sure I modified any in this run. Yep. Because it's to do with interconnections between
Oh yeah.
the JSONs.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can immediately see that. I trust that GPT-4 would absolutely answer my questions.
Yeah, but you see, the mode of operation is really cool because at this point, say if we had an event log that
Mm.
included this report
Mm.
and a retrieval of the session that this report referred to and summarized,
Mm.
and if you asked a question for it, it would then retrieve the session
Right. Right.
and then answer your questions.
Right. That's right. Because it would be. It's almost like we need this. There's this drill down that's happening in the background, like while it's trying to. Every time it's figuring out your intent, it's also figuring out the scope of the intent. Like, what is your object of focus? Is
Yeah.
it getting smaller or is it getting bigger? You know, like
Right.
the level of detail that you're asking at is an important concept for it to have figured out.
What was the overall progress? I've not told it what progress looks like. Let's see what it says. I'm really keen on this idea. This is brilliant. There you go. Right, and what we've just removed is all that emailing backwards and forwards saying,
Oh God!
How'd you get on today? You know, where are we at?
Right.
Um,
So in terms of like being continually
continuing efforts to audit could further enhance it, even suggesting.
yeah, so we could
Sorry, man.
like if we were a public company, we could be generating these progress reports like in real time on the fly, and investor questions can be answered.
Actually drill all the way down.
Yeah,
Right.
but the investor questions can also change what the report is because it sort of highlights what the investor base cares about, and so it bubbles up like it's checks all the previous investor questions and says, in this latest report, have you answered all of the kinds of things that previous questions have been asked about? Yes or no? Bang.
It's like
And suddenly
along the
running a
lines
public
of,
company, suddenly it becomes really easy.
yeah. What would be a thing there? Okay. What's the metric for this? Given the number of prompts, was this useful use of time when trying to establish a CRM? Let's find out. I'm fascinated by this.
Oh, I got a good one.
Uh-huh.
How how could the person creating the session be better?
Given the goal of establishing CRM. Boom, let's find out. Let's get a midpoint appraisal here.
Ask it how much it would pay you.
That's unfair. It's got no calibration. So, interesting saying streamline query process. Batch similar queries, group similar data verification, test together.
It feels like you. It feels like you
I was a
were.
bit all over the place.
Yeah. Your questions were sporadic and uncompact.
Use automated tools. Yeah, I'm waiting on those, man. Utilize CRM and analytics to find, develop comprehensive documentation.
It feels it feels uninformed about the CRM.
It does. This is a glance into Hal's mind here. Set specific goals. This is Hal's chance to actually give.
Finally, let it all out.
On
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm telling you.
Just let it all out.
That is interesting. Okay, so given pay rates between 100 USD per 10 prompts.
Why not just ask it straight up?
All right, okay, go for it. How much is this worth?
In US dollars. Is this work worth in US dollars?
How much was this work?
Yeah.
Worth in US dollars. Oops. I'll be surprised if it comes up with a number.
You gotta force it to pick a number.
It's trying though, isn't it? It's trying.
Yeah, you gotta force it. Oh, here we go.
It's trying.
The labor cost would be $1,000.
Hey man.
Wow.
Because calculate.
It thinks your work is worth $6,000 a year.
No, $6,000 for that session.
No.
I've only told it about one session.
No, look, efficiency gains estimated at 500. Right?
10 resources valued at. That's the.
The gains, the efficiency gains. That's really cool. Okay. That's like this is how much it's worth to the company.
Labor. So.
Oh man, once we get the Dreamcatcher ambient attribution system going, it's gonna be beautiful. Like,
isn't it?
To be able to say what it's worth.
If we tightened up a prompt for this, it's like
a multi-agent
to pay what it was worth.
Oh, because we can even sort of describe estimated costs of similar prompt work that we want. We're like, we need this done. We think it's worth this much, and we can even use that to go to clients and say we need like $5,000 because our system calculates that it's worth about this much.
Oh, right. Okay, let's do some modeling. This is fun.
Someone finally made an everything app.
Further set of sessions. We don't know how many yet, but it's somewhere between 10 and 50. estimate on cost, how much should we allocate to the budget to get this finished? I'm fascinated with this. I mean, if it's going to take a lot of fine tuning, but the very fact that we can ask that question.
Right?
There you go. Budget range 12 to 60 grand is what it costs for another between 10 and 50 sessions to get this complete, given the session and its previous idea
Mate,
about
this
what
is
that session was worth.
actually this is gold, because if we're keeping an automated trace of the stucks and how many prompts we think we need resolved to solve them, then we can constantly be spitting out a number to be like, everything solved 60 grand,
And
80%
you
solved
converge,
30
right?
grand.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
20,
yeah.
50% solved 10 grand. Your most striking things right now, 5 grand. And so we're always advertising to the customer the price, and it's up to them how much they want or don't want
Right.
to pay, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's
Sure.
important that we're always selling, we're never really selling a finished thing. We're always selling the change. Like, we're like, the finished thing is always available for free, but if you want it changed to suit what you need, that's what costs money.
Yeah. Well, let's check this out. New information is now in. The original session is only worth 80%. It's easier to type percent and then find it. Percent, recalculate. So this is like with attribution. It's like, okay, so we now have from another assessment coming in saying, it didn't get us the value that we wanted.
Right. And it just layers and layers and layers, and that's your authenticated data source.
There you go. But the
All right,
thing is, it's already reduced the budget.
Okay,
the
so
top budget was 60, now it's 48. And it's like, if it's only 8%, you shouldn't be paying that much.
Yeah. So there is still a purpose for Artifact, even when we're running in pure context apps, because as soon as you need to share information between multiple parties, you need a trusted substrate, which
Right.
is like,
you need a single source that a session can constantly write to and constantly read from.
You need trusted
single
execution.
Yeah.
It needs to be trusted execution, so you know it's correct. It needs to be shared consensus, with signatures and all that. And so Artifact still holds a role there, because the pure in context app implies a single trust domain, but when you need to run that same single trusted app in multiple different environments that don't trust each other, then you need Artifact, I think.
Yeah, but also the Artifact is important because if you think of any sizable company and you're asking how to give you a judgment, it will pull from, let's just say a big stack of events, make a judgment on that one, but there might be some kind of out of order events. So something that temporarily happened before something else, but was actually put on an event after. Say
right, yeah, like authoritative, highly integral data.
Yeah, it needs to be able to go back and correct itself. It's like, right, I didn't know that the driver didn't actually make this pickup. And therefore, I'm rerunning the query that you asked based on the information that I've got now.
If you got to the point where a pure in-context app was pretty feasible, then there's not a lot of software left in the world at that point.
There isn't, is there? And that is becoming really evident now. At the moment, it's gnarly as shit to try and get this stuff to work. But only because number one, we're using one model. Number two, the model has a certain capability, which is pretty good. But once we get multiple models and judges there, then we get a kind of consensus of the commons, or whatever it's called, wisdom of the masses. And then you can start, I think, to converge on something that everyone actually agrees, because it's close enough, number one. Number two, the alternative is, what are you going to do? Give it to one guy to figure out? He's going to take like 2 weeks to come back to something you can get back in like 10 seconds. And so there's a utility around it, as well as if we the accuracy, I think, really comes down to running multiple smart models on some of these queries, so that people think that it's not because ChatGPT is trying to sell you something, perhaps, because they've all suddenly gone closed source and all that kind of stuff. But it's a bit like, I don't know, nobody queries their electricity meter, right? Just because, sure, you could go and actually figure it out yourself.
Right.
It would just be a complete ball ache, and it's close enough.
It's close enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was.
I'm going to start building that event log for the stuff I'm doing. So each session, I'm going to build it up and then make it available to you, so that you can query that. And if you want, you can copy and paste the session that refers to it, and it's going, what the fuck was he up to?
Yeah, because there's also that's super useful and interesting in itself. But there's also the ability where I can ask a question before anything's happened. So I can ask for triggers. I'm like, let me know when Maxwell does this, this, or this. Let me know when these types of capabilities.
Yeah. When he's
right.
When you think that the query that I've just asked has been met.
Yeah, that's right. Which is a very powerful feature.
Yeah, because that's now we're bringing in sequencing in projects, right? It's like, otherwise, again, you'd have to email.
Plus, that's valuable. That's valuable information, because you know now what I want from the future.
Yeah. Oh yes, of course, because there's reciprocal, isn't there? If you've asked, has Maxwell done this?
Yeah, and then it can, without me having to, because I find that working with software people or creative people in general, the main thing I have to continually whip them about is to stay on target, because I've covered so much ground in the knowledge space that it's easy to lose sight of it. But if I had this,
that's the chasing squirrels.
If I had this one question that I'd asked, and then the reporting system was automatically checking with the people that were chasing the money you'd offered, hey, the thing this guy cares about is X, and here's the report on how you did on that. It would really help to keep them in line, and they could ask questions about how they could do better and all that without having to have me there telling them.
Well, that's the thing with as we both know, you've got a really good bunch of devs. The last thing you want to do is to switch context and answer an email saying, "How are you getting on?"
And people hate it too, because
that
it really puts them
costs a lot of money.
It does, yeah.
Just leave me alone.
And it feels like distrust. Whereas if you're just like, look, here's a system, we all agree, that's the good goal, and all the reporting is actually done based on your activity, not based
but also
on...
you can ask, because we've got the intent. The intent is working out really well for me. There's probably a better way of doing it. You can constantly go back and say, okay, you could even say, how have I diverged from my intent, my original intent? And how
you might find there's actually a conflict resolution process in there as well, where two parties, I mean, let's just call them husband and wife for lack of a better example, and they actually
Yeah.
struggle to communicate because they don't discern each other's intent. They either don't state it clearly or they don't ask for it. And
Oh, so you
if
could get
by
dissonance
proxy,
between intents.
if
Right.
by,
I
if by
see.
proxy the machines were trying to work out your intent diligently, and then, you know, say the husband comes in and looks at it and it's like, oh, my wife's intent was this, my intent is this. Let's reconcile here. You know, like,
Oh, okay. Okay. As I sometimes say to Jude, I'm not goofing off. I'm actually thinking. Shall we try that? Because
yeah, give it a shot, man.
we could
Because
throw it
the
up and
intent's quite valuable. Like most conflict comes from misinterpretation and coupled with misexpression of intent. And if intent was captured in a machine-like standard, then a lot of workplace struggles can be reduced.
oh.
Like,
Well, let's find out whether your intent and my intent right now is the same. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up two Hal's. This is yours.
are you trying to compare them?
Yeah.
Why don't
So,
you use the compare function in the left? Use compare.
Which compare? I don't know.
Under
Okay,
assistance. Up, 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 up.
compare.
Yep. And then, yeah.
Can you put in session prompts?
Well, yeah, because it's just text. System.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Boom. Boom. Okay. Let's put it on the both. How do you type to this one? You just highlight it. Oh, I didn't.
You want us to? Did you want to send a different message to each one?
Yeah.
You'll need to put that in the system prompt and make that different between each one, because the user message is the same.
Right. No. What I was trying to do is
No, but that'll work. Like just put an extra line in the bottom of the system prompt for each one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can put it in this. All right. So I will not mess around with the system prompt. What I would say is to users Tom and Scott, I will tell you at any time which I am, you are discern the intents of both. Okay, let's try this. That's fine. Just for a bit of fun. Okay, right. I am Tom. Okay. Right. What are you trying to do right now?
I am trying to discern from you what are the first tools that both you need and I can make quickly, as well as I'm trying to discern the feasibility of a CRM using the current technology available.
Go over that last sentence again.
I'm trying to discern the feasibility of a CRM using the current technology available. And look, I'm also trying to see the future. I'm like, I don't want to get stuck in a place where OpenAI is just going to steamroll us. And so I'm interested in having a good, solid view of what the future is. Yeah, this is not going to work how you expect, because it's not going to send a different message.
No, it's compare thing.
But it'll look cool.
Good use. Yeah. I was going to do it in two tabs.
Why don't you switch GPT-4 Turbo and 3.5 for one of them and just see what happens?
Okay, all right.
You probably want the 16K, 3.5, 16.
Yeah, because you don't need files. Yeah. So I'm trying to assess
Is 16K doesn't have files?
Nope. Nope, that's what I was saying yesterday. I tried to do retrieval on 16K and didn't do it.
Right.
Probably change or whether well, probably it's going to be.
They're
Just
trying to sunset 3.5
Yeah.
anyway. It's just because it's so cheap is why they keep it around.
Okay, so this is just assessing your intent using
Yeah.
these two.
Yeah.
3.5 is so fast,
It's so quick, hey.
but it's so quick and so slightly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone off in one. It's like,
It's always wrong,
Whereas-
eh?
yeah. And this is much better. Yeah, okay, so we'll leave that exercise. But the point being,
even just between us, that would be a useful thing, right? To find alignment.
Well, here's the thing. Show me my intent.
Hey, I gotta go, buddy. It's
Oh man,
it's time.
Okay, yeah.
I'll be back in about an hour. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be still here. I'll go back and keep hammering it.
Unless the Daystar has destroyed us all. Okay. All right.
Oh, that's some clarity. Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
catch you later,
See you
buddy.
in an hour. Give me a ping.
Okay.
Yep. See you, man.
Bye.